everybody, welcome to Downballot. We usually do the show live on Tuesday nights, but I have some things to do, so we're doing a pre-record. We're recording at the same time. There's just no Twitch chat. You should check the live shows out, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. As always, to support this project, go to the website, echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top and pick your favorite way to support. I think merch is the best, but I will also just take your money if you send it to me. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Blue Sky at Plex-Dave, where I'm starting to gain quite a large following of a lot of shit libs.
And with you, as always, is the Councilman. You can find me also on Blue Sky at PJ Allen TWO. That's PJ Allen 2. Me and my 76 followers are out to get you, so watch out.
Watch out. Everybody do make sure you follow the Councilman. If you follow the Councilman, it will encourage him to post more or something. Maybe not. Who knows?
I'm doing better. I'm doing better there than I was on X, at least at this stage in my career on Blue Sky, right? Yeah. So it took me many years to get to my 116 followers on X. So I think we'll get, if you help us out, listener, viewer, we will get there sooner. So just if you're liking Plex Dave, come on over and like the Councilman.
Yep. So what do we have for leading off?
Well, as you may have heard, homelessness is kind of a problem in California, especially in San Jose. And recently, in fact, just recently this week, the city has begun to clear or sweep, or however you want to refer to it, remove folks who are unhoused from a park that is slated for a little bit of redevelopment and sprucing up. So they obviously have to get the pesky homeless people out of the way first. So we're going to hear about how that's going.
For years, Columbus Park in San Jose has been home to the biggest homeless encampment in the city. Work to restore the park for public use is now underway. It is a day that many of the nearly 400 unhoused people who live there have been dreading.
I don't know. I'm really mad right now because the guys, they don't care.
I've been abated like 5 or 6 times in the past 2 months, and the city's just gotten less and less tolerant of our existence.
This is not right. As far as I'm concerned, it's not right.
City leaders say the park has turned into an unsafe, unmanaged place. A man was found dead in an RV Monday, the second death here in the past week. 68% of residents surveyed by outreach teams said they were ready to move out of this environment, including Juanita Macias, who sold her RV through the city buyback program and was offered a spot in an interim hotel room.
How challenging is it to live in conditions like this?
You know what? It's my first time. And you know what? We had an apartment. My husband was working and he got laid off, and it's hard, you know, it's hard. But I want to leave. I do want to leave. I don't want to be here no more.
Though the notices for abatement went up 70 days ago, the cleanup will take until October. 390 beds will be made available over the next 4 weeks, with 400 more by year's end. The 370 people who are being cleared out of Columbus Park are being prioritized for interim housing.
Today, 42 beds open. We'll move the first 42 people into that housing. Folks who have been encamped in Columbus Park and are there today and are on the list and have said they want housing will not be asked to leave the park until we are moving them into their interim housing.
Mahan says the work the city is doing should serve as a model. He is calling on the county and state for greater collaboration, especially for those with mental illness. Work to revitalize the park back to its former glory is expected to begin next year.
So I don't know if I buy this. We're not going to make you leave your spot until we've given you a spot. I'm not buying that that's how this is actually going to play out.
There are so many things about this I don't buy, right? And first and foremost is the last thing, which is returning the park to its former glory. Personally, maybe that's something that a talking point you can give to folks who haven't lived in San Jose their whole life. But I remember Columbus Park prior to this encampment, and it was a park, but it wasn't like anything to write home about. It was some softball fields and a baseball field and some open grassy area. It wasn't like Central Park or Park the Princes or whatever. You know,
for example, like right where I used to live in Campbell, John D. Morgan was a very nice park.
Right. It's not even John D. Morgan it's definitely not Golden Gate, right? So it's not even Guadalupe River Park, frankly. So, cause it's adjacent though. But that's the idea is just really, just clean it up by any means necessary, move people along. And I don't buy any of the talking points in the city about that crap. And it just, if you listen to Mayor Ed Tuinen's language, he's going right back to his well and basically saying, like, if you're on the list, if you've stepped up and say, hey, I want to, move into whatever shitty housing option you have for me, then we'll prioritize you, right? And we'll make sure you're not abated. But then it's really the mentally ill and the drug addicted, right? And the people who refuse and reject the housing that we're offering them, the ones we want to arrest, right? We'll prioritize them for getting swept. And that seems to me to be a little bit like on the flip side of how it should be, right? Like, why don't you have, if you're going to prioritize people who have stepped up and said, hey, I want your housing, put me into fucking housing, why wouldn't you have that housing already now, right? Like, why wouldn't they be the first people you abate, right? To get them out of the fucking shitstorm that they're living in now into the housing you're providing. Why would they be going later, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all. In fact, you should be prioritizing the people who have maybe not refused, but you haven't been able to reach, right? But that's all balanced on the notion that you have the beds, and you don't have the beds available right now. Like, you're talking about 42 pipe dreams. Yeah, you're talking, it's like, oh, well, we got 42. Great. There's 370 people. Oh, well, we're going to put, 400 more beds online by the end of the year. By the end of the year, but you're talking about sweeping these folks out by October, right? At the latest. So where's the disconnect here? And you want to have them out before the freaking Super Bowl, right? So we're looking at, like, at least, next 6 months, you want that space gone, cleared, and cleaned up in whatever, version of cleaned up you have in your head. So I don't buy any of this, and I don't buy that, they're not going to do this. And then the Super Bowl and the World Cup happen. And then all those folks go home to their respective countries and spaces. And folks naturally come back to a place that they know and that is available to live because they have nowhere else to go. Like, no one wants to live in that squalor, right? And no one wants to. I guarantee it. And, the city can talk all they want about how awful it's become, but they're not doing the work to provide for these people, right? To give them a cleaner space, to pick up their help them pick up their trash, to help them find a place to use the bathroom, right? Like, they're not providing these things for them. They're just letting them fall into squalor. And they're saying it's inhumane to let them stay in it. And yet they could be helping by just saying, look, this is where people are. Let's provide them services where they are, and let's work together to give them permanent solutions, so that way we don't have to keep coming back. Because this is the second or third time that this park has been swept and cleaned up and revitalized or whatever. So it's just going to happen all over again, and it's just getting to be like a broken record, definition of insanity, whatever you want to call it. Just doing the same stupid shit over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah, it's sad. I do like your idea of, like, meet people where they are, especially if there's a large encampment. You know what? I feel like if you sent in, like, some social workers, put up, like, a couple trailers where there were services there, and you gathered people together on, like, Tuesday night, and you had action plans for, like, cleaning up the park and, like, all this kind of stuff, I think you'd get a lot of, like, engagement, even from those who were harder to reach before, because now you're giving them something to do. Maybe you even give them a stipend for the work they're doing, helping keep the park clean, maybe pay a minimum wage. Fuck it, it's work, and maybe you end up reaching some of those people you haven't reached before because there's a trailer. There's maybe, some of those, like, portable showers, like you have camping with, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's a fucking shower. And, like, but they're not doing that. They're clearing these people out. And like you said, like, they want it. It's about the Super Bowl. This is about the fucking Super Bowl and the World Cup. That's what this is about.
Yeah. 100%. And they want to use these spaces also for, like, activations and fancy public events with Fisher and Steve Aoki that can that they can show off to all their corporate friends and their corporate tourist friends, right? Who want to come, they want to convince to come spend their dollars in San Jose. They spend so much time trying to get people to come to San Jose, and they don't realize they have 1 million people here right now, and many of them suffering, but also many of them who are affluent and have the money to spend and have the money to, to support more efforts here to lift up the folks who are, for there for the grace of God, right, are out there on the streets, right? But we don't do that. We're not tapping into that. We're just trying to primp and proper ourselves up for all these guests who will come and go, and they won't, and they were not invested in our city.
And before we move on, this kind of you said there's a lot of people here in San Jose, not here, but in San Jose who have money. And it seems like what San Jose wants is these big events to bring in people from outside of San Jose, but then they don't want any ongoing community sort of entertainment for the people who currently live here. If the city had its way, the caravan would probably be fucking gone, right?
Sure. They don't want a scene, right? Because they don't want people causing a scene, right?
Yeah, scenes cause a scene.
Scenes cause a scene. So that's not San Jose. That's not the San Jose way. We're a bedroom community, and we can have a little fun here and there, right? We can get lit at our cousins. At our cousin's bachelorette party. We can get lit that one time in our lives when we blacked out. But other than that, we got to be on the ones and twos with our turtlenecks on. So we need to get over that. Speaking as a San Josean, and we could learn a lot from Oakland. We could learn a lot from San Francisco, but really we should learn a lot from ourselves. And we need to just get over ourselves and try to be better, be bigger, and think bolder. And that would be it would be the perfect mindset to approach the unhoused situation. But we've got empty suits with just vacant and empty promises.
All right, well, let's move on to Downballot/Recall Watch. It looks like California officials have released the first version of the redistricting map, and we're gonna cop a story from ABC Bay Area here about that.
We get is 4 safe Republican districts, 2 districts that lean Democratic, and the remainder are safe Democratic in the state map.
Breaking news, the stage now set for the next phase in Governor Newsom's call to redraw California congressional districts. The new maps released just a short time ago. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dan Ashley.
And I'm Amma Dates. The goal of the new map is to help Democrats pick up 5 new seats in the U.S. House of Representatives.
ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden just got a look at these new maps, and she's here to show you what they look like. Monica.
Dan and Amma, really just within the last hour, my sources shared with me the draft of California's proposed changes to its congressional maps. And keep in mind, none of this is final. Newly released draft maps show how California leaders are hoping to pick up more Democratic House seats, compared with the current congressional maps that the Independent Redistricting Commission drew in 2020.
Really, we're just trying to achieve the goal of pushing back on Texas without doing something that would, radically disrupt the congressional district lines.
Paul Mitchell, the architect of the maps, shared Democrats' strategy with ABC 7 News on Friday.
The core challenge here was, can we make 5 seats that are Republican and flip those to be Democratic? And then at the same time, we also can in California bolster about 5 of our frontline candidates around the state, making sure that we don't make our other candidates just big targets for Republicans.
Congressman Kevin Kiley holds one of the GOP seats being targeted. In a Friday statement, Kiley saying, quote, "Make no mistake, I will win re-election to the House regardless of the proposed changes to my district." It comes one day after Governor Gavin Newsom launched his retaliatory redistricting campaign, saying this all ends if Texas backs down.
We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, "Find me 5 seats."
I like independent redistricting commissions. I think they're fair. They take the conflict of interest out of it.
Redistricting consultant Max Rexroad opposes Newsom's plan.
Redistricting arms race is a great term for this because that's exactly what will happen. People of political parties in the minority in whatever state they're in, some cases it's Democrats, some cases in Republicans, will be largely disenfranchised by this whole process.
The legislature will have to vote on these maps when they return from recess next Monday. And I want to show you these maps again because the proposed changes are really significant. Republican Representative Doug LaMalfa currently holds District 1, and that's going to be seeing some major changes. Democrat Jared Huffman in District 2 will also see a lot of differences, with Redding added to his district. Now in District 4, which is held by Democrat Mike Thompson, he's going to lose a large chunk, if this is approved, of Santa Rosa voters to now include more of Yuba City. Democrat John Garamendi's seat in District 8 would no longer include Antioch and Martinez, with those cities moving under District 9, which is held by Democrat Josh Harder. Some districts don't see a lot of change, including Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi in District 11 and Congressman Mark DeSaulnier in District 10. So all of these are proposed changes.
All right. Now, obviously, the clock is ticking quickly in this process here in California. What are the next steps in the legislature, Monica?
Lawmakers return from their summer recess on Monday, and then it is go time. The first public hearings on this are happening on Tuesday in both different chambers. The Senate is having their election committee meeting at 9:30, and then the Assembly at 10:30. Then we're going to see an appropriations hearing on Wednesday. That's likely to discuss the funding for this statewide special election. Assembly Republicans are estimating it could be upwards of $230 million of cost.
So this is all kind of null and void because it seems like the Democrats held off the Republicans in Texas.
Yeah. So this breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, but we'll see. I don't know what the final result will be there, and frankly, if it's not Texas, it could very well be another red state like Florida that attempts something like this, right? And Gavin's not going to back down from a fight. He's not going to back away from a camera, and he's certainly not going to back away from an opportunity to win some cred with Democrats across the country, right? So he'll keep making this an issue as long as he can. But right, there is a limit.
They were saying the clock is ticking, and I think that's because the wheels start turning for the primary quite soon.
Well, for the election that they want to tie it to
for the midterm. I mean.
Yeah, they actually want to get this on the ballot for this November in an odd year special election. That's the plan. But yeah, there are absolutely time constraints, and they're under the gun for the legislature to put something on the ballot. And then if it went to if they had to go to a signature initiative, then it could get punted, to next November anyway, and that's not going to work because they need to have the districts in place before the primary election next year. But they still the ticking clock really has more to do with getting it on the ballot now.
This is all bullshit anyway, because we just had a census 5 years ago and all the district lines were redrawn, and there are people who believe that all this is unconstitutional anyway. That this is. Not that Gavin. I mean, Gavin does. I don't think Gavin would be fine with doing something unconstitutional, but like the initial thing is that it says that every 10 years the census shall be taken, and that something all the people shall be counted or whatever. And now they're trying to do all kinds of other unconstitutional shit with the off-year census that I'll probably get into on the Sunday show this week, actually.
Oh yeah, I don't know what honestly what census data they're using for this for these district lines. I would imagine it's the last national census, the same one that was used a few years back by the Independent Commission. And make no mistake, it would be against the charter of the state to do it this way if they just did it willy-nilly, which is why they have to go back to the voters, because we all approved in 2010, I believe, or 12. We all approved this independent redistricting commission, 2010, and then it took effect in 2011. So the last two times that redistricting has happened in California, it's been by voter-mandated independent commission. So that's why they have to have a ballot measure, because they have to overturn that. They have to say, the voters have to say, no, we want to let you guys do it again. So
do you know if this is a supermajority vote or a 50% plus one vote?
I want to say it's going to be, if the legislature puts it on, I think it's a 50-50 split. Or no, it might be the reverse. It might be a 2/3 if the legislature puts it on, as opposed to a citizens initiative would only be a 50-50 split. But I'd have to find. I'm not sure.
It might be that there are other concerns other than who put it on there. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe to adjust I don't know if this is true, but maybe to adjust the state charter, you might need a higher threshold or something like that.
It's possible. I don't know. But I also know that that Democrats have more than a supermajority of voters. Or at least people who lean Democratic, let's say, not Democratic registered voters.
And things have gone so incredibly haywire that I think in this case you might actually see a pretty decent turnout even for an off-year special election.
Well, at the very least, you'd have people who were turning out who were very concerned about it, right? You wouldn't. I don't think you'd see a lot of the people who are like, I don't give a fuck how these things are drawn. I fucking hate Trump, so whatever. But they're not going to come out and vote. The only people voting in this would be the people who feel really passionately or feel something about it enough to vote. And yeah, there'll be some people who feel negatively about it enough to vote. But I think more than likely it'd be successful given the temperament out there right now. Personally, I find it reprehensible and a really slippery slope, and I would vote no if it goes to the ballot. But that's just me. I understand the stakes.
I would take the temperature in the room and possibly hold my nose and vote yes, depending on what the fuck else is going on.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I think that's I think how a lot of folks will approach it. I can't get on board because it's just what happens tomorrow, what happens the next day, right? Yeah, I understand what kind of times we're living in. I understand the stakes, but we have to also admit that when it comes down to it, it's not Trump what he wants to do, talks about doing, tries to do. At the end of the day, the Supreme Court really does rule. And the Supreme Court is fucked for us for the next 50 years already. So there's really not much, there's not a whole lot that the Congress is really doing to prevent the degradation of America. We've already done that by electing this fucker once in the first place.
And so, like my pinned post on Blue Sky says that our republic is broken and not very strong because all the enforcement mechanism is under the executive branch. So if the Senate or if the Congress even gets together and tries to put the brakes on something, they can't really enforce any of this. What they can do, send the sergeant of arms to arrest the president? I mean,
sure. Yeah. And it's also, it's broken in as much as, the fact that this fucker has been elected twice shows you that our process and our democracy and our national discourse is broken in some way. There's just
all of our historical allies have a parliamentary system in which the head of state is the head of state only for foreign affairs and doesn't have a whole lot of executive power within the state, and it's much harder for a dictator to take over from a prime minister seat.
Right? He is the commander in chief, right? He's the head of the military.
It's a king. He's a king. The state of our republic is weak, as I think it was Jefferson said when a woman said, "What have you wrought for us?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." And well, we're finding that out right now.
Yeah, we have a felon president. He is a convicted felon. I don't care for what. He's a convicted felon, and he's the president. He's allowed to be president, and he's allowed to just to ironically pardon other fucking actual criminals who have done bad shit in his name, right? And yet he's a fucking sitting convicted criminal.
Well, let's see what the Bay Area locals have to say about this redistricting plan.
Let's do that
too.
So what do people here in the Bay Area think about Governor Newsom's plan to redraw the congressional maps to help Democrats win more seats? Our coverage continues tonight with KTV's John Krinjak, who joins us now live in the studio. So, John, what are you hearing from people tonight?
Yeah, Heather, it really depends on who you asked. We found an independent who thinks this is a good idea that'll essentially level the playing field between Democrats and Republicans. But we also found Democrats who want their party to win, yes, but worry Newsom's actions could backfire.
Oh, I'm all for it. I think it's a slippery slope.
Bay Area residents we spoke to Thursday night were split on Governor Newsom's bold redistricting plan designed to make California even bluer after Texas redrew its maps to help the GOP.
Got to meet fire with fire.
Some say they agree with the governor's logic.
If they're doing it in Texas for more Republicans, why can't we do it here for more Democrats to beat Donald Trump?
Others think California should keep redistricting as a nonpartisan process.
I think it does create a slippery slope because once you start changing one thing, and where are the checks and balances, and then where does it stop?
The governor argues the checks and balances will be voters who will ultimately approve the plan or not in November.
We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process. We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people.
But Democratic strategist Steve Maviglio argues Newsom's ploy disregards California voters' choice to have independent redistricting and says he's playing a dangerous game.
It's a race to the bottom. I mean, the only reason we're doing this is because of what Texas did. But what California does, that means Ohio's going to do and Missouri's going to do. And those are Republican states.
Some voters we talked to agree.
Yeah, it kind of ups the ante, and it's such a bad precedent for like other states to start gerrymandering, right? California is already a very blue state,
But we spoke to one independent voter who says Democrats need to be tougher.
I think they should just get a backbone and go for it. You got the Republicans are doing the same thing with Texas and other states, and this just kind of evens the playing field a little bit.
Now, Steve Mabiglio, the Democratic strategist you heard from, says Newsom's speech today felt more like a campaign kickoff. He says that all but confirms to him that Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2028. Many of the voters we spoke to today agree. The governor, of course, has made no such announcement. Heather?
Yeah, but that is a sentiment that many people are sharing tonight. All right. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it.
So when they said, what are voters saying? I thought they might have data or polling information, not we
on
found,
the street.
Yeah, we found 3 people, one who's for it, one who's against it, one who is not quite sure.
I liked at the beginning how I thought that was all that they were going to show the people was like, yes, no.
Right. I think it's slippery slope. I like it. I don't like it. I'm not sure. Yeah. The editing left a lot to be desired, but sometimes I also know from doing this work, sometimes you just don't get the clips and the cuts that you want, right? And you just got to take what you can get. And you're also splicing these together in a van on the side of the road, like 5 minutes before the airtime, right? So they go with what they can get. But that being said, yeah, maybe not the best editing there. So yeah, the man, woman, person on the street, they're apparently split on what this all means. So we'll see how if it does go to the ballot, if it does end up being a thing, we'll see how it comes out. But I agree with the pundits. This was absolutely more about Gavin Newsom launching his campaign for president than was about the actual measure, right? And the thing that that they're proposing to do.
Yep. And I think again, because it seems like the Democrats are able to hold the line in Texas and the redistricting isn't going through, it seems like maybe this is all going to stop.
It could be.
Anyway, let's move on. Here's a story we've been covering for a while that we started off in one place, and now it just feels like we're treading water and not sure where the land is when we talk about this fucking story. I'm like, hey, Pete, where the fuck are we going? You're like, I don't know. Let's not drown.
I cannot see through the fog. It is too thick. So the fog is getting thicker and thicker in San Mateo County around the Board of Supervisors' effort to remove the sheriff from office, and we're going to learn more about where things stand, and we're going to hear from the sheriff herself. She was able to speak up and defend herself during a public hearing just recently.
San Mateo County's embattled sheriff took the stand this afternoon to fight for her job. County supervisors have accused Sheriff Christina Corpus of retaliation, racism, and abuse of power, and today kicked off an unprecedented hearing that could remove her from office. So this all started last November when the Board of Supervisors released an independent report from a retired judge that detailed the allegations and called for her resignation. Corpus even showed up during public comment at a special board meeting, calling the report.
Wait a minute. Whoa. A detailed report from a retired. Oh, wait, that's just some dude. Now that it's like a retired judge, now that's just some fucking dude, man.
Woman, yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I believe it was retired Judge LaDoris Cordell. She's a very local famous former
right, but what I'm saying is
judge.
Is just like this is a private citizen now who is not a judge and has
correct.
Like, no.
This was an independent report. It was not a government sanctioned nor funded nor sponsored report. It was not an internally initiated report. It was entirely initiated independently, and the elected Board of Supervisors took it up as their their rallying cry.
Motivated. And then in March, San Mateo County held a special election for Measure A. It gives supervisors temporary power to remove the sheriff. It passed with 84% of the vote. So the measure also mandates that the sheriff is entitled to a hearing to defend herself against the allegations. And that brings us to today. Lauren Toms spent the day inside the courtroom.
For the first time publicly, San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus answered direct questions as she faces a hearing that could remove her from office. She testified about how she ran her office and her relationship with her executive director, Victor Iyenjay, insisting she did not have a romantic relationship with him, an issue the county points to as a clear conflict of interest. Her attorney, Tom Perez, insists the effort to remove her has been biased and rushed.
This trial will show
that, yes, people opposed her and people went to defamatory lengths to remove her. And we're going to keep fighting.
Attorneys for the county laid out a list of allegations that Sheriff Corpus did have an intimate personal relationship with I&J. They say she retaliated against deputies she deemed disloyal.
Yo, dude, that fucking, why would you'd be like, listen, I want you to make sure that I look like a fascist.
I think this is like an AI generated image, potentially. Possibly, yeah. I think he said ChatGPT made me look like a fascist in California.
Investigations and neglected her duties. The county pointed to I&J's hiring as a prime example. A real estate broker brought in at nearly $200 a year. They called former high-ranking members of the department as witnesses who testified about unusual behavior between Corpus and I&J, sharing meals together and logging on and offline at the same time, a trip to Hawaii, and a pattern of forceful behavior towards deputies. County spokesperson Effie Millones Verducci says the county is prepared to make their case for her removal.
In the removal hearing that's beginning today at the county, we are looking forward to the evidence, the witness testimony that's coming out and the factual evidence that will be presented by both sides to put a definitive picture of what has been happening here and to help us all move forward.
Overseeing the hearing is retired Judge James Emerson from Santa Clara County, who began by noting this is not a criminal trial. Legal analyst Steve Clark says it's a rare civil proceeding that could lead to the end of Corpus's tenure as San Mateo County's top law enforcement official.
This is not a criminal trial about putting someone in jail beyond a reasonable doubt or a civil trial awarding someone money. This is really about whether the county can establish good cause for removing Sheriff Corpus. And that's really a subjective standard, and it'll be up to the judge to decide whether the county's made its case.
Corpus's defense team argued this hearing isn't about misconduct by the sheriff, but her efforts to address the culture of what they called the old boys club inside the sheriff's deputies union. Her attorneys say Corpus inherited a double overtime deal that ballooned to $16 million, far beyond projections. And when she tried to end it, they say the union turned against her. Her attorneys insist she's being targeted for trying to modernize the sheriff's office as the county's first female sheriff of color. A historic move to oust the sheriff now playing out in an open courtroom.
You may not like how they're handling it, but are they getting the job done? And I think that will be very important for her to make that case.
The hearing is expected to last up to 10 days. Then Judge Emerson will write his own report and submit it to the Board of Supervisors, who will then decide whether to remove Corpus from office.
Their examples of them being in a relationship are fucking stupid. They had lunch together and they logged off at the same time. I mean, if I have like a meeting with you, like if you and I have a meeting, something's going on, we're trying to figure out how we're going to cover something on Downballot or whatever, right? Who knows? Or, something happens, right? And we need to have a chat. And so we both get on the computer at the same time and we have the chat, and then we both, I don't know, I go to lunch and you go change your child's diaper or whatever it is. I guess your child probably is potty trained now. You go spend time with your wife or go to lunch or fucking, I don't know, feed your neighbor's dog. But this is not evidence of anything except that we both like got on we had a chat. We had lunch one time. Like, what the fuck?
It's what they call circumstantial evidence, right? Like,
it doesn't even raise to that fucking level. This is just behavior that people engage in.
Sure. More and more, and it's ever more clear as more of this unravels, right? And how long it's taken and how just uncomfortable it seems for everyone. Like, the only one who doesn't seem really uncomfortable here is the sheriff, because she's like, what the fuck, basically? Like, I don't get it. And you know what? If you want to do this, I'm going to sue your asses off and you're going to have to settle with me for millions of dollars. So either way, I'm good, right? Either I keep my job or I sue you and I'm making out for life. So she's feeling fine. It's the county spokesperson who I think, is treading in really shallow or really deep water or really shallow water, depending on how you look at things, and just trying to be everything to everyone, right? And not make any promises, because this could all blow up in their faces, right? So they don't sound very confident. And it's taken now, we're in August, so it's taken 5 months at this point since that election to get to this point. And I thought the whole point was to expedite things. So
Just call the whole thing off.
Yeah, it's obviously a political maneuver because they're right. It's just like the LA sheriffs. It's like any other sheriffs or any other police organization. It's an old boys club, and she came in to clean house, and the old boys don't like it. And so the old boys are fighting back by telling all the people who they feel like they helped get elected, or the electeds think they helped get elected, by spending money on their campaigns, right, and independent expenditures, and slamming their opponents and doing all sorts of dirty shit to get them elected. Now they're going to them and saying, hey, we did that for you. You have to do us this solid. Right. And so even worse, our elected officials are being used as a pawn by the union and by the good old boys network to get what they want. Right. And to basically remove the woman from office and from being their boss. So that is more and more clear. That is actually absolutely what is happening here. And it makes me kind of sick because it's a corruption of the system. And even if she is sleeping with her chief of staff, frankly, I don't give a shit as long as public safety is protected.
All the evidence that they've had, they were at the airport together once, they weren't even like going on vacation together, as far as I know. They maybe happened to be on the same flight. I mean, I don't know. They could be like, what if they're friends and fucking colleagues, and they're like, I'm going to Hawaii. Let's cop the same flight to Hawaii. Like these things are not evidence of, like, you haven't seen them in public holding hands or, you know what I'm saying? And even so, that's none of my fucking business.
Well, really, as long as it doesn't impact the job, frankly. I mean, it is an internal issue, right? It does present a conflict of interest. It is a challenge if that is actually happening, right? If someone is having
staff or something
that means she's
like
his superior.
Yeah,
and
but
chief
of staff is a little bit different than if he was like a sheriff on the beat or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a little bit different, but it's not all that different, frankly. And in the context of just to put this in context, in the context of like HR and especially in public service, it's absolutely verboten. Like that, you have to disclose that you're having the relationship to your superior, and then they have to make a call about what to do about it. So yes, it's absolutely verboten, not illegal, just verboten within the institution itself. So it would be a problem, but like you said, there's no evidence that it's happening, and there's no impact on job performance and public safety in San Mateo County. In fact, I've heard crime is down in San Mateo County since she took office.
Which is really weird, because I thought that it was. I didn't even think people would even consider committing crime. Nothing's happening in San Mateo County, least of all crime.
Right, exactly. Like Menlo Park is a real bastion for crime these days. So anyway, it's obvious this is a political maneuver. I'm glad she got a chance to defend herself. They're gonna figure out a way to get this done, because otherwise they lose so much face if they have to drop it. But if they did drop it, great. But if they don't, she's just gonna fight back with a lawsuit, and she's gonna win. Whether she wins in court or in a settlement, she'll win.
Right.
And they're gonna lose some face for this one way or the other. I think they're just going to figure out how to lose the least amount of face.
Well, speaking of public officials getting fired, we're going to move on over to winners and losers, where there are no winners unless, well, if you were rooting for somebody, they're definitely not going to win. There was a Alum Rock School Board member was fired. We're going to hear from the Alum Rock superintendent who voted against firing, or the Alum Rock School Board member who voted against firing the superintendent.
Correct.
5:30 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Kamora.
And I'm Raj Mathai. A rocky start to the school year in San Jose. The lone board member who voted against the firing of the former Alum Rock superintendent is speaking out.
She's demanding answers herself about questionable reimbursement to a fellow board member. She sat down exclusively with NBC Bay Area's Damon Trujillo.
Board member Corina Herrera Loera says there's not much specific information she can share because of closed session rules. But the board member found out about the reimbursements in question through NBC Bay Area.
Why did you vote no? So I can't talk about the details because those are in closed session.
Alum Rock board member Corina Herrera Loera was open today about her support of former Superintendent German Cerda. Last week, the board voted 4-1 to fire Cerda without cause.
You have faith and trust in the work that German was doing? Yes, absolutely. We all have areas of growth, including myself.
Herrera Loera says she decided to talk because she was frustrated with the district and the board president's decision to remain silent on the firing outside of written statements. Then came the bombshell she heard on NBC Bay Area this week. That's where Cerda told us he believes he was fired for questioning reimbursements made to board members, in particular Andres Quintero, who was allegedly reimbursed more than $30,000 for coursework to get his doctorate degree.
I think there are some serious allegations that have been made towards our board members, and anything that serious should be looked into.
And it is. Herrera Loera herself ordered staff to produce by the next meeting a spreadsheet of all reimbursements made to board members. And after the County Office of Education asked for similar data, it apparently wasn't happy with the results and ordered what's called an extraordinary audit.
In light of the baseless accusations made against me by former Superintendent Germán Cerda Luna, I feel it is necessary to set the record straight.
At Thursday's board meeting, Quintero made his first public comment since the news broke, and he acknowledged some reimbursements, but he says it was done legally and within the rules.
While the options exist to attend conferences, I elected to use my allotted funds for academic coursework. In other words, I could have dedicated the $5,000 that are allotted to board members to go to conferences, but instead I chose to use it for coursework.
I did hear him say that, a couple of things that were a little bit concerning, but I'm not gonna, move forward on that yet. I do trust that third party will investigate.
Last year, the same board stripped Herrera Loera of her title as board president and voted in the current leadership, a leadership that got an earful at Thursday's meeting. In San Jose, Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
So just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
I bet most of whatever amount this is, I bet most of these board members in most of these places aren't taking that allotment to go to conferences or take classes. I think they probably, especially we've been hearing about a lot of financial problems with the Alum Rock School District over the last fucking entirety of Downballot, essentially. And I think that if you were paying attention to what's going on and trying to be a good person, you would do everything in your power to not, even though $5,000 is like a drop in the bucket, you would still just to have good face, essentially, to save face. Well, not to save face, your face is fine, right? To not fuck your face up, you just wouldn't take this money. You wouldn't be spending county money. You wouldn't be spending school district money on anything unless it was absolutely necessary.
Right. I think, the board member there is trying to make the case, well, I was spending it on my education and not just some silly conference, right? That I maybe might have had to go to. Frankly, some of these officials are mandated to.
The conference, you don't really get anything out of it outside of your duties as the person on the school board. Whereas the education, you definitely get something out of that. Like if you receive a PhD, that's like a personal gain, right? I think conference is more. The conference is more defendable. You're like, hey, these hotels are overpriced and expensive, and as a big school district in California, we're expected to send a member, and I just happen to be that member. I wish it wasn't this expensive. I wish we could have done this another way. But I'm taking classes for my PhD. I'm sorry, this is a little bit harder. It was a little bit a little tougher for me to swallow on the I'm not doing this for my own personal gain front.
Well, I don't know if he's not necessarily personal gain, but he's certainly saying, it's about his personal betterment as he makes him a better board member, right? To have this education, right? And really, I think he's just it's again empty suit crap, but just trying to say, oh well, because I spend it. I'm a school board member. I work. We're in a school district, so I was using it for education, right, as opposed to something else that's non-education related, right? So therefore, since it's education adjacent for me, like it benefits just me, not the district necessarily. Then it's okay because it's education. So right, his argument makes no sense. I agree with you 100%. I'm just trying to point out his hypocrisy.
Right, and I don't know. This is the other thing is she's calling for all of it to be made public at the next board meeting. Somebody going to catch a stray, right?
Well, that's the thing. I work for Karina. Like, I feel for her because she is like a 1 person out of 5 minority. Like, they're all ganged up against her for whatever reason politically. It's just politics. It's bullshit. But yeah, it's like it's double-edged sword, right? Like, we'll see what comes out of that report. Like, I hope that Karina has been careful about her reimbursements, or at least knows what her reimbursements are before you make that kind of a request. I would advise, if I was your political advisor, that you know what's on your books before you make that request in the first place, right? Or you have an idea
what zero, except for one time she went to a conference and they asked her, "Oh, you got reimbursed for a conference?" They're like, "Oh, you all sent me to that." I was the chair of the board at that point, and the chair of the board was expected to go to the conference.
Yeah,
she's like, "Here's my credit card receipts for putting dinner on my own credit card." You know, you do something like that. Yeah. You're like, hey, I put everything everything except the accommodations and the travel I put on my own fucking credit card. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, but you just have all that ready to go in advance before you make this request in the first place, right? You're ready to you say, "Oh, I'd love to know." Like, what,
maybe they all dirty. Report. Maybe they all dirty. Who fucking knows? Maybe the superintendent. Maybe the superintendent's the only one who ain't. That's why he's gone.
Well, 4 out of 5 agree, right? So that's all it takes. 3 out of 5 is all it would take for them to oust someone. So they've got an overwhelming majority there. Anyway, I'm realizing this next story probably should have run right after the Sheriff Corpus story because it has a lot of through lines.
But it's San Jose City. It's San Jose City politics, and we're going to file this under "Let Them Fight."
Yes, absolutely. So looks like the police union and the PD and City Hall are in sort of a triangulated crossfire pissing contest. And we're going to find out what it's all about.
Hell yeah. I hope Matt Mahan loses no matter what's going on here.
Well, I think he's just a loser no matter what, but even if he does win occasionally.
Has now gone public between San Jose Police Officers Union and the department and City Hall. The fight started over a police officer fired, then reinstated, and evolved into a battle over reforming the police disciplinary process with accusations of misconduct and incompetence. NBC Bears Robert Honda joins us from San Jose to tell us more about the fight and what happens next, Robert.
There are a lot of accusations and lawsuits flying around this dispute, which isn't so much about whether the officer should or should not have been fired, but how the city went about doing it. Today, the San Jose Police Officers Union went public with a fight that started with a fired officer. The union claims he was dismissed for a minor violation of procedure. An arbitrator then reinstated him, saying the officer, Michael Richmond, was denied due process. From that arbitration hearing, the POA showed deposition testimony by then Captain Brian Spears, now a deputy chief, who testified he couldn't recall if he altered a document that helped lead to the firing.
He actually, in order to alter it, used 2 different color inks. And he concealed that fact that he altered that document not only from the officer in question, but also from the administrative sergeant and the other investigators that were looking into this matter.
The union says information revealed during this process indicates to them widespread abuse. Union leaders also say they've submitted a request to the city to overhaul the disciplinary process.
Instead of dealing with doctored documents, whiteout, false affidavits, and people who aren't trained to interview our members, if you're going to end someone's career, if you're going to take someone's livelihood from them, then you better be standing on a pile of facts instead of in a puddle of whiteout.
We've had statements made during depositions that whited out or altered documents has been the norm. So we'll have to see how far the scope of this becomes.
The attorney for the officer involved points out he was reinstated but not given back pay and legal fees as ordered by the arbitrator.
Despite the order, we've been forced to file a lawsuit against the city to force them to comply with the back pay award, which is now more than 2 months in arrears.
We reached out to the city attorney but did not hear back. The city attorney has stated publicly they believe the initial firing of the officer was justified and that the arbitrator was wrong in reinstating him, and they're taking steps to fight the monetary award. In San Jose, Robert Honda, NBC Bay Area News.
Play me the tiniest violin for this fucking cop, dude. There's fucking people in customer service that get fucking fired every day for not smiling enough.
Correct. I watched that whole clip and I still don't know what the fuck is going on or what the big deal is. And I'm mostly wondering why the POA decided to have their press conference in their huge banquet hall with the lights off, as opposed to in front of their building with their logo and all the fun stuff. Anyway, that backdrop. So yeah, let them fight. Let them fight. It's going to be great. And I hope Matt Mahan does get involved in some way and that he gets egg in his face and a boot up his ass.
Yep. Well, that's about that. I mean, I think is going to be one of those stories that we don't really hear anything about ever again, unfortunately.
Until the settlement happens. With the lawsuit, the inevitable lawsuit from the officer who got shit-canned.
Or until the officer who probably has beaten the shit out of several unhoused people is now himself in that position and maybe has a turning point in his or her life. I guess it was his life. But I'm not counting on that, actually.
He hasn't had enough chances to throttle some homeless people, so we got to give this guy another chance so he can get more throttling on, and he can go out and shoot the councilman with some, rubber bullets or something. Let's go. Anyway, more not to come probably on that story. But up the peninsula in that other city by the bay, San Francisco. Looks like the school year starting off with a bang, except for a few, teachers who, wouldn't you know it, the system kind of fucked up their paychecks. That's exactly what you want to have happen.
We've covered this exact fucking story before. Here's the news from KPIX.
Right. It's all about going back to class. Students, if they're not already, will be hitting the books soon with the new school year kicking off this month for a lot of them. While the calendar is starting fresh for students and staff, some employees of the San Francisco Unified School District say an old issue is also back this year. And this is one that we've talked a lot about. The teachers union says they're facing another payroll crisis. They transitioned to a new pay system on July 1st. And since then, educators have reported over 100 errors. Teachers protested over a similar issue back in November 2022 after
that's when we covered it.
The system delayed their paychecks. Our Amanda Harry caught up with an employee today who says they're waiting for thousands of dollars in pay from working over the summer.
Fix payroll now! Fix payroll now! Fix payroll now!
For the last 2 weeks, Leslie Hu has been waiting for her paycheck.
So it impacts our ability to live. What am I supposed to eat for lunch tomorrow? How am I going to pay for my car insurance?
Hu has worked for San Francisco Unified School District as a coordinator for 17 years. She even grew up in the district.
I was born and raised in San Francisco and graduated and spent kindergarten to 12th grade in SFUSD. And I have come back here and spent almost my entire adult career in this district because I love San Francisco, I love our communities, and I want to give back.
But it's becoming difficult to stay when she doesn't know how she'll make ends meet. On July 1st, the district switched payroll systems because of issues with their last one, which resulted in thousands of staff members not being paid properly. Since starting the new system, Frontline, educators have reported over 100 errors to their union, United Educators of San Francisco, and that includes Hu.
Educator is that we don't get paid even a living wage, and so $6,000 impacts my ability to pay my basic bills, my rents, my all of these food, and so it is a hardship to not be paid what I am owed.
Hu and other members of the union
sassiness on the end of that one.
Meeting to express their concerns during public comment. Executive Vice President of UESF, Frank Lara, says this is another attempt to shed light on the issue after already bringing it to district leaders over the past few weeks.
The response we're hearing from the district is oh, sorry, that person who was responsible for transferring that data didn't do it. That's not an acceptable answer.
He's worried it's going to become a bigger issue now that the school year is beginning and all staff is working. In a statement, SFUSD said, quote, "If there are problems with employee pay, we are acting fast, investigating, making corrections, and issuing payments as needed. They've created a website to update employees, but for people like Hu, it just doesn't feel like enough."
It's really, really hard to keep coming back every single day if I just don't know when I'm going to get paid.
So with millions of dollars at stake, the San Francisco Unified School District is making a big push to boost student attendance ahead of the start of class next Monday. The campaign is called Be Here. District leaders say school attendance in San Francisco is still below pre-pandemic levels. Students missed more than 4 million hours of educational time last year, losing out on $60 million in state funding that is tied to attendance.
If we can just get back to pre-pandemic attendance levels, we would be able to see an $18 million increase to our budget every year. That is significant.
The district also announced some partnerships with local pro sports teams to try and help promote daily school attendance.
So this is bullshit. I had one time when I was running the business that I had before the pandemic, people's paychecks, there was literally the date was wrong. It was for the next year. And as soon as those came out, I was on the horn. I was like, I'm paying you for this service. What I need you to do is issue new checks right now and have them couriered to my office. And 20 minutes after talking to 3 people, I got that. And I'm not a school district. I wasn't even able to be like, hey, these are teachers, right? I wasn't even able to pull on anybody's heartstrings. The district has leverage here. Because the district, if this payroll company won't fix this, the district can just go public and say, we have to fulfill our contract with this payroll company. However, here are the steps that we have taken and here are the hurdles we have encountered. We do not have the ability to just write checks to the people directly. Like I, as a small business owner, I just fucking gave people cash, right? It was a bit of an accounting problem, but I was like, we had what we called petty cash at the time. It was kind of a fucking pile, and I paid everybody out. And the district needs to be like more proactive on this. Even if they can't get what they need from the payroll company, they need to throw the payroll company right the fuck under the school bus.
Proactive and large school district do not go together. Unfortunately, it's like oil and water, and I know that from experience. So it's not surprising
So the
to see this.
superintendent can't just get on the horn with the fucking the rep from the payroll company and be like, "You need to fix this now."
So can and will are also two different things, right? Can, absolutely. Will, no, because they don't give a shit about their frontline teachers. They don't give a shit about their frontline employees. They talk about it a lot, but they don't. Administration generally doesn't.
This is like a gimme win for the school district too. If they step on the fucking payroll company, because nobody likes payroll companies.
Well, of course it is,
like
but
teachers, right? You play that like.
Of course it is, but they don't even want to own the issue because they've already had a big problem, right? And they got egg on their face, and they've now shifted. And their big idea or the big solution or the end game was that they transitioned to this new payroll service, which has fucked things up again, right? So they're just right now just tail between their legs, don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot cattle prod, just want the issue to go away so it doesn't look bad or reflect badly on them. And yeah, they could get a win by like stepping up for their employees and pushing back and actually taking responsibility, but they don't.
No, you pass the fucking buck. You pass the buck and throw these other people under the bus. You go, this is the second time this has happened to us.
Yeah,
the first time it happened to us, we were trying to be nice. Now we're not trying to be nice. This is bullshit.
Sure.
This is a large company.
It's the second time that the district has fucked up by using a vendor that fucked up, right? Like that's the people. You could make a big deal out of it, but the people, right? The people that vote for these board members that run the district, the parents, the community members, they don't give a shit. Like they're just going to see that you fucked up again. And it's not the same vendor, right? If it was the same vendor, I'd say, okay, fine. That makes a lot of sense. It's two different vendors. So you've now had a royal fuck up with two different vendors. So it's kind of like some folks would say it's a you problem, not a vendor problem. That's what I would say, frankly. I would look internally and that's the approach I would take. Be like, you know what? I would own it and just say, look, we're going to make it right. We're going to do it right. This is how we're going to do it. Like you said, get them paid, and we're going to sort it out later. But you just got to own it. And they, like any other big institution, they just don't want a public institution. They won't own it. They just move on.
Maybe I don't understand the inner workings of these big government agencies, but this is an easy win for the superintendent. The superintendent absolutely throw this payroll company under the bus. You go, listen, we're trying our best here. We have limited resources. We're doing what we can. We tried to hire someone who said they were going to offer us this payroll service at a discounted price or whatever, because we're because we're a school district, and we trusted them, and now we're not. The school year hasn't even started, and people aren't getting their checks, and this is absolutely unacceptable. The name of the payroll company is this. The name of the representative I talked to is this, and they are not solving this problem. We cannot just issue the checks. We cannot do it. This payroll company is not just issuing checks and overnighting them to our staff, which is what
we don't know. We don't know, though. That's the thing. We don't know what the circumstances were that led to this fuck up. It could have been the district didn't report appropriate information. It could have been not submitted. It could have been lack of there wasn't some sort of linkage made between computer systems, right, that needed to be made, or
if you
was a misappropriated.
You go out there and say that, and that was your bad. Now your school district's getting sued by the fucking payroll company.
Anyone who's ever migrated a database to knows that a lot of times there are fields that are misaligned, right, or misappropriated, right? So you end up sending an email to one email address you think is Margaret, but it's really Bob, right? And they write back, I'm not Margaret, because they get an email that says, Dear Margaret. So that happens all the time. So I could absolutely see, that's the thing, is I can absolutely see that this is district's fault, and it's not the vendor's fault in either case. I just think that's how, knowing how parents and teachers and school stakeholders react, they would blame the district first, even if it wasn't necessarily. And even if the district came out and said it's not our fault, they're still going to get the heat because they're the public agency and this vendor is some private company. And like in the case of your small business, you're not having to defend yourself on NBC Bay Area News, right? Like so anyway, that's what they fear.
They understood, right? But the other thing, and I just wonder, I don't know why a city with the large S of San Francisco doesn't have just basically not just for the school district, right? Have their own city and county of San Francisco payroll services that is not a private company that handles this stuff for the city and county of San Francisco. Do you know what I'm saying? It seems that is a function that government could serve.
Yeah, some of them do actually. Some districts do run their own payroll service, and so it's really a question of resource allocation. And if you want something done right the first time, you do it in house. Period. So the more you contract things out, the more you risk things getting fucked up, no matter how cheap or efficient it might seem. So that's just a rule of thumb for public agencies. Anyway,
we should probably move on to San Jose, and this, I guess, so this is a burger joint is offering free cheap their food, not increasing their prices due to tariffs. First of all, I think this is bullshit because we're not feeling the effects of the tariffs on things like produce and imported food yet. We're not really seeing it at the grocery stores or anything yet. I know because I buy a lot of produce and it's all from fucking Mexico. Right. I'm not seeing it on the tomatoes. I'm just not seeing it. The tomatoes are fucking, you can get them for $1.10 a pound still. So we're not seeing it. So this, first of all, this business might just be lying to everybody about this, but also the thing that you put here leads me to believe there's a little bit more going on here.
Yeah, let's find out a little more. I am curious how they keep their prices so low, but we don't get a whole explanation here, but we get a little bit taste.
Falling gas prices are keeping inflation in check, but consumers are starting to feel the effects of the Trump tariffs on a broad array of products. Prices rose 2.2% in July, according to the Consumer Price Index, and Americans are paying more for things like rent, medical care, and used cars. That number does not include
so your rent is not, medical care is not, used cars are not, those are not tariff things.
Food and energy, but those costs are rising as well. And restaurants around the country are facing the tough decision of just how much to pass that on to their customers. But the owner of a South Bay burger joint is bucking that trend. He spoke to our Len Ramirez about why he's standing firm on prices despite the challenges that may bring.
On Park Avenue in San Jose, just across from Hoover Middle School, the smell of grilled burgers and onions fills the air, and a line stretches out the door. 107. That's owner Jim Angelopoulos. He's hands-on, working the prep station at what is now his second Campus Burgers location. And to mark the recent grand opening, he planned to give away 1,000 burgers to celebrate with the community. But when the line didn't stop, neither did he.
Saturday, we actually gave away 1,500 cheeseburgers.
We thought we were going to give away about 1,000, but the customers kept on coming, so we kept on grilling cheeseburgers.
And the crowds are still coming. His claim to fame? The $1.99 smash burger, fresh off the grill with grilled onions, part of a simple menu that Jim says keeps prices low.
The $1.90 burger is tough. It's not like we don't really are highly profitable at it. So it is there to draw people in, obviously.
How do you do it? How do you do the $1.99 burger?
They order them by the dozens. So we sell a box of 12 for about $23. So it's like a pizza box. Instead of pizza, come and have a burger. Thank you.
Customers say prices are one thing, but it has to deliver on quality and taste to be a good value.
You're dealing with good quality beef here. It's very fresh, tastes very fresh, and then also the fries are obviously very fresh. And where else, who does that at that price? I don't know of anyone.
Angelopoulos grew up just blocks from here in San Jose's Rose Garden neighborhood and even went to Hoover Middle School himself.
My parents immigrated from Greece in 1968 to the Rose Garden area. So this is like coming back home. It's crazy.
With his concept taking off, Jim's already looking at expanding to locations in Santa Cruz and Berkeley and may even franchising in the future. And Jim says whatever happens to beef prices, he'll keep offering the $1.99 burger. It's what he says will keep him grounded as he grows beyond his hometown.
I don't want to change the price. It's tempting sometimes to go a little higher, but I just refuse to do it. I think that's why people come.
And that could be a lesson he learned right here in his old neighborhood.
Just in time for dinner. That was Len Ramirez reporting.
So I don't know what you were saying about the guy's politics. He was born in the Rose Garden. Also, that $1.99 burger brings people in. He's making all the money on the fries and the drinks. Every burger joint makes all their money on the fries and the drinks because potatoes don't cost shit.
Yep. Exactly. If you look at the menu, right, you get that $1.99 burger, but the fries are $3.99. The smash fries are $5.99. The milkshake's like what, $3.99, $4.99, something like that, right?
And I mean that's fine. I'm not mad at it, but it's like, in fact, I mean, it looked great. I mean, but I don't know what, and I'm just curious. Do you know something that I don't know about the guy's politics?
Yeah, totally. I mean, and I don't know how much it impacts his business model, frankly, but it does. It impacts my desire to give him my money. I did try the free burgers at their launch. It's somewhere between, like halfway between an In-N-Out burger and McDonald's burger. Let's just say, right? Like if you, I don't know, somewhere halfway between. The fries are very much In-N-Out fries. Whatever they were doing, they either bit the recipe or just tried to emulate as much as possible In-N-Out fries. So it's decent, especially if it was free. But I don't know if I'll be going back to give them my money, even though I live right around the corner and I'm also a Hoover graduate. So what I do know is that this owner of this establishment, while not alone in this, is a Trumper, unabashedly. So he's got social media accounts that are public that make it very clear where his politics lie. He's an anti-vaxxer, anti-masker, Trump acolyte. That being said, so many business owners, local and otherwise, are conservative, and many of them are, Trumpers. But whether or not they choose to make that, public and put that out there is up to them. So the fact that he's done that, it gives me an opportunity to say, well, I can find my burgers elsewhere. But I don't begrudge anyone trying it out. But I do call bullshit, like you said, on like, oh, I don't know how long I can keep these prices low, but I'm doing it for the good of the community.
Also, he's charging you $1 for a slice of cheese.
Correct, right? And you can you can add on for the burger, you can add on a patty for $1. So basically he's equated a slice of cheese with a burger patty. Right. In his pricing model.
That's fine. But he's making all the money on the fries and the drinks.
Yeah. Like just like any restaurant, right? Like there's like that, you can't you don't hear it, but when you sit down with your friends at a restaurant and they ask, what do you want to drink? And you're like, oh, water's fine. Which is what I do because I don't need anything else. You can kind of feel like the waiter, like the wait staff and the whole restaurant kind of sink a bit, right? They're like, oh, now we actually got to give this guy something for cost, right? And not milk them for $6 for a refillable drink that you're only going to refill twice because you would have to pee 50 times to get your money's worth for what you're paying for the drink, right? So yeah, absolutely. That's how it's going. So I don't buy the civic mindedness for a second. And he's absolutely an ambitious business owner. He opened his first shop down by San Jose State, and then pretty much, I don't know that he forced out a local restaurant here that was doing pretty well and had a really good following. All I know is that their landlord decided to jack up their rent, and they couldn't meet it. And this guy swooped in pretty much like literally a month later. Like usually it takes some time to renovate a place, get it all branded out. He had this place like repainted, painted over some murals, and rebranded the whole place in like a month and opened up. So
he might have been ready to go.
Yeah, and I think he made it put some pressure on because he wanted this location because it's near his school, Campus Burger, right? That whole thing. There's a high school around the corner, so he's going to do well. They're going to do well. He's going to be successful there. But I just more than likely won't be patronizing very often.
All right, well, we're going to move on to get your shit together, and this is about shit. It's about Foster City fighting goose poop, and I'm going to leave the rest of the description of this to this news story because it looks weird the way you put it here.
We have covered it before.
I try to avoid running into them when I run.
It's everywhere, especially like under the bridges. I always see like just tons and tons of poop.
In Foster City at Catamaran Park, Canada goose have left their mark.
Normally just all over on the grass. I mean, they're everywhere in Foster City. It's just,
yeah, I found it.
You can smell it too, yeah.
You didn't have to go far. Yeah. They're dropping something all over. And then dogs are trying to eat it.
Because these dogs are stupid. You don't see a cat out there eating it.
The poop problem adds up fast every day.
400 pounds is at least several trash cans worth.
Last December, Foster City Council approved taking a non-lethal approach to the goose problem. The $400,000 pilot project, which will include the use of drones, dogs, and lasers to drive the birds away, officially begins next month.
Dogs, drones, and lasers, as well as, most importantly, habitat modification, and also education with the public. Stop feeding the geese. That is a direct impact that draws.
A goose will attack you if you don't feed it.
Dog owner Julie Ginsley is open to any solution that will keep the birds and the poop away.
Drones and lasers and dog, all of it. I mean, whatever. It's an experiment, I guess, for whatever would work.
What exactly laser supposed to do with geese?
What about drones?
Will they be injured with it? I don't know. Maybe drones? Drones supposed to be bigger than geese?
Foster City's park director explains part of the plan is to scare the birds off.
I like her.
Any number of dogs that will be used to chase the geese. They're trained. They're fully trained. If we chase them into the water, there'll be drones that can chase them while they're in the water. Again, making it less attractive for them to want to be here.
City leaders say hazing the birds, along with habitat modification.
Hazing?
Removing the geese.
That's pretty much what this is.
But many hope it's a humane way to keep the geese from coming back.
Oh, this is fucking stupid.
That's exactly what it is. It's stupid as shit. It's basically fucking making it undesirable to come to town, right? If you're a goose, right? As if we have any idea what like a goose wants out of life on a Friday night, right? Like I don't know what most women want on a Friday night these days, let alone like a goose. So I don't think we have any idea.
Have you ever had a negative encounter with a goose? What do you think the goose is going to do to the drone?
Yeah, I've never had a standoff with a goose before. I haven't really wanted to. All I've ever done is like, here's some breadcrumbs, go the fuck away, please. But if you give them breadcrumbs, they keep coming after you. So you just got to run fast. But yeah, I'm worried about these dogs that they'll sick on them because they will be eating the poop too, right? That's what we've heard. So that seems really inefficient. And like scaring them with drones into the water where you'll shoot them with lasers like this. How is this all humane? I don't understand. And also, Derek Schweigert, what a great name for the Parks and Rec director of Foster City, a city that is literally like a postage stamp. It has like 5 people living there. They have one park. I think this is the only park. That's the only reason why it's such a big deal is because there's poop all over their one park. So good luck getting your shit together. I'm sure we covered this, I recall, when they were first proposing the lasers, and now it's actually happening. So I can't wait to see the results.
All right, well, we're going to move on to and another thing, and I have a feeling this could have gone into winners and losers, I'm guessing, but we're going to just let it roll here and see what's going on.
I mean, just by the appearance of Mayor Ed 209 alone. But yeah, let's see what happens.
The Bay Area's most populous city is leading the way in a creative new strategy to tackle the state's housing crisis. San Jose is the first city in California to allow an accessory dwelling unit, or an ADU, to be sold separately from the property's main home. It comes at a time when ADUs are popping up across San Jose. From the end of June of 2022 through this July, the city approved more than 1,500 new ADU permits. That was nearly a quarter of all housing permits in the entire city. It's an effort to provide more affordable options for home ownership, but that's not exactly a guarantee. Kevin Coe has more.
Behind me is a new piece of California history. The city of San Jose officially approving the first ever ADU that can be sold separately from the main house on the same property. It brings in a new era of housing here in the South Bay, and city leaders say it's one piece of the puzzle to building more affordable housing.
One signature from San Jose's Director of Public Works was all it took for state history to be made on Josefa Street in San Jose.
San Jose is the easiest place to permit and build an ADU, and now we're the first place that allows you to even subdivide a lot to condoize that ADU and create a home ownership opportunity.
Condoizing ADUs, according to San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, is a key step to increasing housing at a faster pace. Mahan has often criticized California's red tape, saying regulations and reviews across the board slow down home building statewide. ADUs can be built quicker, and now in San Jose, they can be bought.
You're talking months for the conversion, a year or two for a build versus what's often 5 to 10 years for a new build and $1 million a door. This is more optionality, lower price points, and getting people home ownership that's more accessible. That's really what this is fundamentally about. In this case, though, what we're opening up is the most accessible form of home ownership, what condos used to represent.
ADUs are on the rise. The California YIMBY Education Fund found permits increased by about 60% every year since 2017. California's Department of Finance shows ADUs make up about 1/5 of new housing units statewide. While an ADU does add a new housing opportunity into the market, it doesn't mean it'll be affordable. In California's first ever ADU owner survey, UC Berkeley Center for Community Innovation found ADU rent prices could be similar to traditional housing options. Some housing advocates believe resources are better focused on permanent affordable housing.
It's not either or, but the notion that the only approach is to have publicly subsidized deed restricted affordable housing is lacking. It's not very scalable. It's an important piece of the solution.
At the official signing, Mahan stood alongside Alpha X, the Bay Area real estate firm behind the ADU. About a year or so ago, the ADU was founder Stephanie Yee's personal investment property. Then came AB 1033, a state bill allowing cities to adopt ADU condoization.
San Jose adopted the AB 1033, so we decided to, why don't we try it? I think the second one could be faster. I think the process is probably a couple months, and then I think it's already very fast. And then with that, I think the second and third one is going to be much easier, much streamlining.
Whether or not it will be much easier to streamline construction and permitting, the city of San Jose and Alpha X will be put to the test. Alpha X says it has 86 more ADUs in the pipeline, which in about a year or two could be up for sale.
While San Jose is the first city to see an ADU sold as a condo, others are following suit. Last month, San Francisco supervisors unanimously passed an ordinance allowing it as well.
This is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's not creating any new housing, first of all. The idea that it's an incentive to build more ADUs because you can sell them as opposed to rent them is, kind of irrelevant. You're still managing some sort of finance payments regardless. And in this scenario, the caveat that they did not mention in this news hit was that you have to form, if you sell the ADU as a condo on your property, you are required to form an HOA of just your house and the ADU.
Oh, so everything bad about home ownership without actually kind of having your own home on your own property.
There's like fees and other things that are associated with doing that, right? And paper, or at the very least paperwork you have to file on an annual basis to, maintain it, and tax information and all that shit. You have to have regulations and bylaws for two residences, right? So it's not making it all that more feasible or desirable to do this unless you're like a millionaire real estate agent who happens to own an ADU in their backyard in this investment property, right? Like, she doesn't live in the front house. She owns both. She owns the whole property, right? So it's not about that. It's not about creating new housing options. And yes, ADUs are a tool in the tool shed, and we are getting more housing units out of it. But this policy is not creating more ADUs. And And yes, you can invest in and spend more on permanent affordable housing that's subsidized by government. It's happened in the past, as we've talked about in this show, and it can happen again, and you can do it well. You just have to change your mindset and change the mindset of who you're trying to please and what you're trying to prove and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. And they just don't care about these people when it comes down to it. They care about developers, they care about millionaires, they care about their friends in the tech industry and all their techie pro friends that have gotten their golden parachutes now and are investment property owners, right? People who own these places, these homes, and they can build ADUs in the backyard and get even more money out of their investment property. That's who this is all for. So again, it's one more example of, I don't buy this, I call bullshit, and the mayor's a liar, liar, pants on fire. The end.
All right. Well, that's the show. You want to read it out?
Absolutely. Very efficient show this week, Producer Dave. I'm really happy that everyone's joined us. We will be off next week, but we do this show just about every Tuesday at 7:30 live, generally on twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. So please tune in. If you have been vaccinated, that's fantastic. You probably don't want to go to Campus Burger, but if you do, wear a mask. You don't have to wear pants. Just tell them, you listen to this show, and they should let you do that. And if we're going to leave you some audible smoke in a little bit, but we wish you a wonderful week, and I hope you have a merry, merry August Christmas. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later we're all singing Queen. Let's get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the US economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob.